Hey everybody, I'm here today with a driving lesson on oversteering. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of oversteering by telling you what it is, telling you about the usual causes of oversteering, and showing you a few things that you can do to correct oversteering and make sure that it is less likely to happen in the future. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Oversteering. What is oversteering? Oversteering is basically when you steer too much during a turn. So if you're making a turn, whether it's a right or left turn, and you steer too much, that is usually considered oversteering. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to just start driving down the street over here. I'm going to make a right-hand turn and I will oversteer. So right now I'm going to make a right-hand turn over here and I'm going to steer too much. So I'm going to turn the wheel too much and now I have to release it early, and it's just not, I have to release the wheel early. It's not a smooth curvature of a turn. Usually what happens is the turn is too sharp, so then you have to sort of bring it out. You have to, release the wheel a little bit too early, or even in more extreme circumstances, you have to actually turn the wheel back to the other direction. So I'm just gonna turn around right here. That is what oversteering is. Basically, it's when you steer too much. Now, one of the main causes of oversteering is lack of experience. When you're first learning how to drive and you haven't made too many turns, obviously the lack of experience is going to cause the potential to be higher for oversteering. But the second cause is going to be when you actually start to turn the steering wheel before you accelerate, okay? So what happens is, I'm approaching a stop sign right here. I'm going to turn right. So I'm going to put my right signal on. Actually, let's turn left. So I'm going to turn left. And if I actually turn the steering wheel before I accelerate, then I'm more likely to oversteer. So I'm going to turn the steering wheel just momentarily before I accelerate. So I'm going to turn the wheel. Now I'm going to accelerate, and I oversteered. As you can see, that was oversteering. I had to release the wheel almost right away because I was basically oversteering through the turn. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and make a right-hand turn here, come to a complete stop, and I'm going to turn the wheel before I accelerate. So right now I'm about to accelerate. I'm going to turn the wheel and accelerate, and whoa, I have to actually steer out because that was oversteering at its finest. Now this is obviously true only when you're starting to turn from a stop. So like if you're making a right or left hand turn, and I'll oversteer right now as well, turn and then whoa, I gotta steer back. So if you're actually taking a turn, making a right or left hand turn, and you're moving as you make the turn, like I'll do right here, then the second example that I was talking about and showing you right now doesn't really apply to you. But what will apply to you is the lack of experience potentially, because even if you're rolling through a turn, there's no stop sign and you're rolling through a turn, and you haven't made many turns, then you might not know how much to turn the wheel. So watch this. I'm going to show you one more example of oversteering, making a left hand turn. Turning the wheel, now I'm accelerating, and look, I have to actually steer back a little bit. So I had to release the wheel almost right away because I steered and I turned the wheel before I actually started to accelerate. So what are the ways, now that I've told you what oversteering is, and I've told you a few common causes, two main common causes of oversteering, which was lack of experience and also turning the wheel before you start to accelerate, what are a few things that you can do to prevent oversteering? Well, these are some easy things that you can do to prevent oversteering. First and foremost, you want to make sure that if you're starting to turn from a standstill, so if you're at a stop sign and you're making a right or left hand turn, you want to make sure that you don't turn the wheel before you accelerate. You either want to start turning the wheel immediately as you accelerate, or even start turning the wheel like a fraction of a second after you start to push the gas pedal, okay? Very simple. So just to avoid that problem of turning the wheel before you accelerate, just don't do it. Turn the wheel right when you accelerate, or just like a fraction of a second after you start to press the gas pedal. Now, with regards to the other cause, the other main cause, which is lack of experience, what you have to do is practice. When you're practicing turning right and left, what you want to do is this. I'll demonstrate it and I'll explain it, and then you can practice as many times as you want. And I would recommend practicing as often as you can. I mean, I would recommend the more practice, the better. So if you can practice by doing 50 turns to the right and 50 turns to the left every single time that you're driving, then that's going to be better. After you've done 10 or 20 sessions of that, you're going to be great. You're more likely to be great at making turns, but without oversteering. But this is what you're going to do. You're going to practice turning right and turning left slowly, okay? So right now I'm at a stop sign. I'm gonna put my right signal on, I'm gonna make a right-hand turn, okay? Go ahead, I'm checking my mirrors on my blind spot and so forth. I've come to a complete stop, and now what I'm doing is I'm turning slowly. So I'm pressing the gas pedal, now I'm turning the wheel, holding it here, and releasing it. And as you saw right there, it's actually easier to learn how to turn the wheel and how much to turn the wheel when you're accelerating slowly, because you can make those small corrections much easier. I'm gonna do the same thing now. I'm hitting the gas pedal. Now I'm starting to turn the wheel, holding it here and releasing it. So it's easier to learn how to turn properly without oversteering when you're turning slowly. Because if you're turning quickly, then you're gonna have to make more aggressive movements with the steering wheel to correct oversteering. But if I turn slowly and I start to oversteer, I can correct it just by making a little micro adjustment, a tiny little adjustment. So once again, I'll make one more turn over here. I'm gonna make a left-hand turn. I'm doing all of these turns while I'm, starting from a stop sign. But by all means, you can practice without stop signs and in any situation, as long as you're turning. You want to make sure that you're driving and turning slowly. So I started to accelerate, then I turned the wheel, I'm holding it here and releasing it. And if I was experiencing an oversteering situation, I could correct it just by making a tiny little adjustment with the steering wheel instead of just, having to roughly turn it left and right. Now, obviously, if you are taking turns slowly, like I'm showing you how to do right now, you want to make sure to not do it in a traffic situation. You don't want to be driving on a main street and there's lots of traffic and everyone's driving with the flow of traffic, and then you interfere with the flow of traffic because you decide to take a turn slowly because you're practicing. So practice on side streets, in parking lots, areas where there's basically no traffic during off-peak hours, so that you won't interfere with the flow of traffic and with everyone else that's trying to just go about the regular commute. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over the basics of oversteering. I have told you what oversteering is. I've shown you and told you some common causes of oversteering, and I've also shown you and told you how to correct oversteering with certain tactics and with basic practice. I really hope that you like this video. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I almost messed up that ending. Let me know what you think down below as a comment, and of course be sure to subscribe for more great videos, car and driving videos just like this one. Wow, I messed that up a few times, but it's all good. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.